calling blocks. So sorry about that. I have to keep. Okay, now I figured how to move it. Caesar Joseph. Okay. All right. So a quick summary of the essay, the awards, and the numbers. We have participants from Liberia, 27. The total number of scholarship applications we got 10. We have from Nigeria 106 participants, total applications 30. We have from Congo 41 participants, total application 5. We have United States, 2 people participating, applications 8. Cameroon, 23 people participating, applications 11. Guinea-Bissau, 41 participants, applications 10. We have South Sudan, 21 people participating, applications 8. Sierra Leone, 45 people participating, applications 11. And then Uganda, 58 people participating with 14 applications. The awards, we will get to that, but it's important that that we move quickly to have our presentation from Reverend Flored, because he has somewhere he needs to be quickly. So we will continue with some of the introductory slides and discussions after we hear from him, his presentation. I will just take a few more minutes just quickly to share with us a few feedbacks from a short clip, a very short clip. And then once we're done with that clip, we will hear from him. And then when he's done, we'll get back again on track, and we'll like to get some live feedback from each of you from all the countries, some live feedback in terms of 2022, the things you learned and how you may have applied it and what impact it have had for you. So we will, on a second note, I think we will just move ahead and have Reverend Flored go ahead so that we wouldn't violate his boundaries. It needs to be somewhere quickly. All right. So if you're ready, we can go straight into having your presentation on grants. And then once you're done and you take questions, we will move on. All right.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Obi. And once again, I am excited to be a part of this incredible foundation and ministry that the Lord is using to extend his grace, his provision, and a lot of things of himself to all of you and many nations. So, Mr. Obi, you have my slides, right? Are you going to put that up? Okay.
Okay. Let me share my screen then, so I can pull it up.
Okay. So while he's doing that, we will go as quickly as possible without rushing per se. And hopefully you guys will be able to ask questions at the end before I conclude my portion of the presentations. So here is the presentation for 2023. I'm sure many of you attended the event last year, and you may have seen something similar. The core elements of what happens every year are the same, but of course, There are updates, the teachings are different, the people may be different. So Mr. Obi mentioned something which is part of this presentation, which is trying to get feedback and testimonies. So I may stay a little bit if he's going to do that shortly after this. I think he said he had a clip that he wanted to share. I don't know if it's the one I saw that you shared with me, but that's something that I am interested in seeing, because it's the evidence that we are achieving the goals that have been set by the Fourth Man Foundation, and of course by the Lord through them. So let's go to the next slide. This is about grants and business proposal. Mr. Obi is going to do that part about business. And I think there's an additional one which I don't have on here, which is about artificial intelligence. So I'm just letting you know a few things that are missing here that were omitted. So you will have those as the presentations move forward. Mr. Obi has already welcomed you guys, so I'm not going to do that. We recognize all of you and we thank God for all of you and your countries. The countries that are participating are listed below. There are a couple that may have been missed, so don't pay too much attention to that. The next slide, please. So very quickly, I am Reverend Flore, also known as SOG, Servant of God. I am the president and founder of Godly Reflection Network. I am here primarily because of my experience in life and my wonderful connection with the founders of the Fourth Man Foundation. And I thank them once again for this opportunity to be a part of this. Next slide, please. Grants and business proposal writing. In this presentation, we will talk about the following things. People who received this presentation last year and have leveraged it. So this is what I was referring to about the testimonies and what Mr. Obi mentioned briefly. So I really hope that some of you who attended last year and probably the year before also can share how you have benefited from the teachings from this program that you participated in. We'll talk about grants, what they are, institutions that offer grants, how to apply for grants. In other words, write a proper grant request or proposal. There are steps, there are examples, and there are templates. Training on how to write grant requests, the proper legal entity. This is very important. You can't just get up on your own and say, I'm going to apply for a grant, find one. In a way, you can do that, but you need to make sure that you have the proper legal entity as a person, as a business, as an institution to do so. And of course, there is grant management, oversight, and reporting, which are very important. So the relationship pillar pertaining to this, Christianity, family, and all human interactions, the importance of networking. This is a big deal, people. Networking is very important. Some of you may have heard this, but I will say it again. Most of the time in life, who you know is more important than what you know, or at least equally important. And this has to do with social institutions, education, your career, your politics, your life, all kinds of relationships. Okay, next slide, please. So Mr. Obi mentioned the submissions. He presented a table that had information from each of the countries, what they submitted and what they received as awards. So I'm not going to go over that. But I need to point out a few things to all of you before we delve into actual grants. We recognize that quite often there are issues with the language barrier. So some of you may have, would have received maybe scholarships or grants or awards, but did not. So once again, I would like to encourage all of you going forward in 2024 to identify people that can assist, can review what you are submitting and help you make sure that you are putting your best foot forward. Some of you may not have spent enough time on your submissions. Some of you may not have fully understood the requirements. So please, for 2024, let's do all we can, because remember, if you take the time to fill out the application and to write an essay and things like that, it is incumbent on you. It's your responsibility to make sure that you are doing the best you can for yourself and for whoever else that you are helping. Okay, I will just go to the next slide. So what are grants? A grant is a gift to an individual or company that does not need to be paid back. Wow. That must get most of your attention. A grant is research money, education loans, stock options could be examples. But most of the time when we talk of grants, what we have in mind is financial support, and that is big. A grant is also a way by which the government, an institution, or wealthy individuals fund your ideas and projects to provide public services and stimulate the economy, or to support financially the product or service that you want to offer. Grants support critical recovery initiatives, innovative research, and more. So we will look at some of the things that you also need to be aware to delve into this. Next slide, please. Institutions that offer grants. All right, I am based in the United States. I'm from Cameroon and I'm always there. And part of my family is Nigerian. My first cousins are Nigerians. So I'm always in Africa, one part of Africa or another. So, but I'm talking about the United States first because of what they do, the grants that they offer in this country and around the world. And for all of you in Africa, please pay attention. The United States embassies around the world offer grants as well. Governments of many developed countries do that. Many institutions, regional or global institutions, offer different types of grants. Private companies offer grants. Universities, they receive grants, but they also offer grants. And trusts of wealthy individuals, they offer a lot of grants in all kinds of areas. Next slide. So how to apply for grants and write grant requests or proposals? Well, we'll look at a few steps, examples, and templates. A lot of this stuff does not require you to spend a whole lot of money, but they require you to apply yourself, to be diligent, to connect with someone who has more than you have. So for example, let me encourage some of you. Some of you have really good business ideas, but you don't have necessarily the education that would allow you to actually be the one that writes the grants and defends it to get the funds. but you can connect with someone or with an institution, and they will help you write the grant request, submit it, but it will be your idea. It will be coming from you. And the funds, when they are granted, will be given to you to execute. But all through this process, you will need help. And that is one of the key things that I know personally, that you people are being taught by the Fourth Man Foundation. And that is what I mean by this issue of networking. Don't always try to go it alone. Look for people who know more than you know and connect. Let them assist you while you retain your intellectual property. If it's your idea, it still remains your idea. But a good idea that is badly presented will not achieve its goal. A good idea that is put in a grant request will still not achieve its goal, because either it will not meet the requirements and it will not be evaluated. So this is important, guys. There are grant and proposal writing courses available online. And here's the third one. You can enlist our support. In my next trip to Cameroon, I'm working with some people in the town of Limbe and Boya, which includes the university in Boya, to do several seminars on grant writing. So those of you in Cameroon, you can take note. So also you can enlist our support. This is the idea I have. This is my current situation, and we can provide you some direction and support. All right, next slide. So here is the first one, training on writing grant requests and proposals. So Mr. Obi is going to leave that up there. And of course, this is being recorded. So at your convenience, you can come back and review this. So this is an example. If you have a phone, you have a computer, you have internet access. Let's go back to that slide, please. You have internet access. This is valuable information. And you can see some of the key things that it contains. The grant life cycle, grant policies, grant eligibility. Okay, next slide. I talked about the proper legal entity. So if you're going to apply for grants as a company, as a college, as a school, as a business, your business has to be legitimate. You know, they're going to want to know, what's the name of your business? When was it formed? Where is it based? You know, where are the legal documents that show that this business is legit? Grants are also given to individuals to conduct research or to fund their specific business or social initiative. So if you look at what the Fourth Man Foundation is doing, I think this is a wonderful example. You know, things don't just happen. You know, they spend a lot of time putting this together. They also spend a lot of time soliciting funds to be able to provide for you all the things that they provide. So not only do they put in their own sweat and their own money, but because they understand what we're trying to teach you, there are times when institutions or also individuals, you know, say, hey, I like what the Fourth Man Foundation is doing. It's in line with what we believe. It could be a Christian institution or not. And when we send requests, when the Fourth Man Foundation sends requests for support, they support this. It may not be a grant per se, but they are grants because it's a legitimate entity, a nonprofit institution, a nonprofit foundation. So they are eligible for those kinds of things. Now, each applicant, individual or company, is required to have demonstrable expertise. So if you want to apply for a grant to go into the villages in your country or in your region of the country to provide basic support health services, for example, to the needy where there are no clinics, you can say you want to do that once every week. You put together a team that will help you. You connect with a doctor that can provide his or her services to you guys maybe once a month. you already have the foundation that an institution, maybe the Embassy of the United States in your country, if you apply, will look at and say, okay, yeah, these are things that we have health institutions in the US that provide funds. We can provide some financial support to this institution to reach out to the villages, to do basic checks on, local people, their blood pressure, the things that they don't have a clinic or a hospital, is too far for them to go to. So you can do that once a month. That is something that can be funded. And you all have many more ideas that can be funded. Okay, next slide. Grant management, oversight, and reporting. This is one of the reasons why it is very important to meet the requirements and to connect with people that will help you. The entities that offer grants always insist on a way to oversee their grants. Just think about it. An institution, an individual is giving you money because you told them this is what you want to do. You believe it will help the people that you will serve. And then they say to you, yeah, I think that aligns with what we believe. But we know that we don't have the people or the time to do it. So we want to connect with institutions like you who have the ideas that you just told us to do it. So they can still do it, but by funding it without having to actually spend the time and hire the people themselves to do it. That's the whole idea behind the grant issue. There is always an elaborate process to put grant requests on the street. So in other words, to put it out there so that people can apply. Then they have to review the applications, just like has happened during this gathering, right? Your applications were reviewed, your essays were read. So there's significant effort involved. So they don't just throw their money out there. They want to see people that they believe are serious and have the ability to do that which they are saying they will do. Grant issuers also have someone in the company or a company they oversee and administer to oversee what their grants. There are often very high reporting and oversight standards and requirements. Once again, the reason to think through what your ideas are. Have someone help you lay those ideas out very clearly and ensure that you understand what it will take to execute. And that is the kind of support that we're talking about. It's available to you. Okay, next slide. I think we are getting to the end. There you go. Grant writing additional materials. So right here, for those of you who can, you can go online and actually print out this document and begin to get a better understanding. I know that most of you are not in a position to get into this, but you can begin the process and position yourself. I'm going to say something about that in the next couple of slides. So this is not about, oh, let me throw this away. Well, Mr. Obi, I cannot get into grants, so let me just abandon it. Absolutely not. The reason you are going to school is to be educated, is to position yourself for what you're going to become tomorrow. And this is also part of that process. So this is not about, oh, I can leave here today when the program is finished on Sunday, maybe on Monday, or a few days later, I start writing grants. No, this is not what this is. This is to position you to know there is a significant opportunity out there that you can get involved with. All right, next slide, please. And there are quite a few books available also. Remember, I told you it's not going to cost you a lot to at least begin to say, okay, let me get a little deeper into this significant potential. In fact, your whole career can be connected eventually to grant writing, grant proposals, grant management. So here are some examples. of books that you can buy. You can see they are not that expensive. And then we can now move on to professional grant writers that I said are available to provide you assistance. Sometimes you have to pay them. At other times, you may not. They may believe in your idea so much that they could even provide you financial assistance to be able to have part of the grant or the business that you are seeking grants for. So, which means nothing will really come out of your pocket. Okay, next one, please. So, you can be engaged. I said it before. This is not about we're done on Sunday, a week later, you are writing grants. For most of you, you can share this information with maybe your parents. They can connect, they can see an opportunity, and then several years later, you can also become part of that. So you can start off as a grant writing assistant. You can grow and become a senior grant writer or assistant. You can become a grant proposal writer yourself or for a company. Like I said to you, there are people who do this for a living. If I use Cameroon as an example, let me tell you, there are many, many institutions in Cameroon, regional institutions, Cameroon institutions, embassies that offer grants, significant ones. For my village, I'll just use that as an example, and a couple of other villages that I know, we had the US Embassy provide some grants so that we could develop a water project that has benefited many, many people. And finally, you can develop your own business, research, social, educational ideas, and apply for grants directly to fund them. All right, next slide. Here we are. How did we do, guys? How did we do, Mr. Obi? On time. You are still
on mute. Okay, sorry, I didn't want. We're on time. We're right on time.
Okay, fabulous. Okay, so I think Mr. Obi or Ebere or Dr. Joyce mentioned it. You know, we started here at 5 in the morning. So which means some of us had to get up at 4 to get ready. So if we look a little slow today, please forgive us, okay? You know why. All right, question and answers. Time to take your questions and prepare for the second part of the presentation. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Obi. So if people have questions, raise your hand. I don't know the full protocol, and you'll be given an opportunity to ask.
Yes, thank you so much. That was a very concise and straight to the point presentation. Yeah, we have a question from God Great, Nigeria. Go ahead, ask your question.
Thank you so much, sir. My question is regarding the grant. I want to, according to what you said about we can be assistant grant writers. We can write grants and get paid for writing the grant. And so that means that there are companies that use writing to write grants and the writer gets paid.
Can you repeat your question, or maybe can somebody type it into the chat, because the loudspeaker was just echoing around the room.
Well, I asked regarding the grant you talked about, said you can write and You can write one, if you can become assistant one, I can write to someone, and the person can submit and all that. That's if I'm a writer. Now I write. I have companies that choose writers and pay them and how do we fund such companies?
Okay, I couldn't hear the question because of the audio in the room is a challenge. So is it possible to turn off the speakers? I don't know, Mr. Obi, what do you think?
Yeah, one option is to, can it be typed in the chat? The person, yeah, can you type that question into the chat? Or you speak straight into the laptop microphone, because the echo of the loudspeaker is the problem. You can type the question in the chat of the Zoom.
Yeah, that will work.
Yes, the microphone she's holding is not, we're not hearing the voice from that microphone.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Hey, this is better. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're hearing. Just go ahead and talk.
All right, ma'am. Just talk. Talk. Use the earpiece.
All right.
Unplug. No, we can't hear again. Unplug whatever you plugged in, unplug it. Unplug it and just talk. Unplug it. Yes, talk now.
My question is.
That's better.
Okay.
Okay.
My question is regarding the grant. You said we can be grant assistants, like someone who needs to write. I can act as assistant to an applicant, but someone who wants to or who is writing a grant. Now I'm a writer. I write, and I want to know if there are companies that recruit grant writers and pay them in return.
All right, let me answer that first part. Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, there are many companies. Nigeria, you asked the question, I believe, right? So can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first part of your question, I don't know if you have more. Yes, there are companies that actually write grants. They don't do the business. The business is not their idea. So you have a company that wants to go after a grant. Let me use the US, for example, that is being offered by the National Institutes of Health, that is being offered by the State Department, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the US, that's being offered by the Department of Education. A lot of those companies who want to apply for those grants or the funds, some of them have people that will write the grants for them in the company. If they do that often, because it justifies they are hiring somebody, you're paying them a salary and all of that. So if it's something you're going to do once for a small amount in a year or twice, then it will not justify hiring somebody, but it would justify paying somebody that has a grant writing business to write the grant for you. I spent a lot of my career not only doing that, but applying for very large IT programs, putting the team together, writing the solicitation and defending it before the US government. So this is something I've done for most of my career at a very significant level. I would say to you, I mean, this may shock some of you, but this is something Obi and Ebere and a few other people know. The smallest contract, IT contract that I worked for a company to win. It's not me winning it, which is what I'm trying to explain to you. Huge companies like Dell, I basically helped them write solicitations for federal government contracts. The smallest one that I won was $90 million. And the largest one was $640 million US dollars. So I'm telling you these things from concrete experience of a 25-year career doing things like this within IT. Now, I pointed out, you don't have to be in IT. There are many things that I have not done. I told you, just like the Fourth Man Foundation, one thing that I've done in Cameroon is help people, even help the government with water projects. We went to the embassy, raised some money here, and thousands of people are benefiting from things like that. So yes, this is something you can do. I really want to stress it to you. Thank you for that question. There are companies that actually have grant writers as full-time employees in the company, but most do not. And that is where this opportunity opens up for a lot of you people. All right. Did that answer all your question, or you have another part to it?
You're muted. Can you unmute yourself? God bless Nigeria. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is the question. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Always remember that. Always remember that the time here is limited. So you can always reach out to get more detailed information. Okay, but I think it's very clear what he explained, that if you're looking at a career in that direction, is possible. Yeah.
All right. We see Uganda and Sierra
All right,
Leone, they
so-
have their hands up.
Yeah, we have Uganda. It would be good if you can type your question in the chat. It's going to make us go faster. So Uganda, can you ask your question? Unmute and ask your question. Uganda, can you hear me? Can you unmute and ask your question? Hello, Uganda. Okay, maybe they're having an issue.
I think anybody that has a question should just
Yeah.
type it in the chat so we can move on. Please type your questions in the chat so that we don't have to deal with live questions.
While we're waiting for questions in the chat, Sierra Leone, are you ready with your question? Okay. More questions from Nigeria. How do you find companies that recruit grant writers? And if yes, what are the steps to get into one? How do you find companies that recruit grant writers? And if yes, what are the steps to get into one of those such companies?
Okay. The same way you would find companies that recruit people for all kinds of things, project managers, IT specialists, computer people, drivers. So you identify the companies you're interested in, first of all, and then you go online, that is available for most of them, and then you go to their career section and see what they're offering. And even if you don't see positions that are directly grant writing positions, I strongly encourage you to then send a very concise note to the career section of that company, expressing your interest and what you're looking for. Ask the questions. You went online, you did not see any grant writing positions. Does the company recruit grant writers? Second question you want to ask is, if the company does not recruit grant writers, does the company apply for grants? How does the company then get the grant proposals? That's where you're going to find that they contracted out to people to do, and they can provide you that information. In fact, I can tell you that a lot of companies will tell you that okay, our grant writing is handled by the following companies. And there you have it. So now you have a direct link and you can reach out to those companies. I also just want to make sure everybody saw this. Thank you, Ms. Ebere, for just confirming what I was saying, that TFM. So you can really see that what I'm trying to share with you is real. TFM has grant writers. So once again, what I said to you, that you can solicit support, you can reach out to me, but it's going to be through TFM, because all of this is through TFM. And as they see fit, they can direct some of you to me, and we can have that chat about really what you are looking for pertaining to grant writing and help direct you in the right way. But remember, you have to have had a certain level of education and ability to write. So grant writing is not for somebody who is still in college or has not finished college. You need a certain level of maturity, unless somebody brings you under their wings to help you with that process. That's why I said you can start at the entry level as an assistant. So I think that's all I can say about that.
Okay, we have a few more questions.
Okay, I see from Nigeria. Does grant proposals have a specific business or sector the applicant must apply for? The grant itself lays out the specifics, the requirements, the kinds of things that they are looking for. But if you are the one who has a business idea, then there's no limit. You just need to find an institution, a government, a person, a wealthy person who is interested in that idea. So for example, when I talked about the water project we did in Cameroon, I was just applying what I'm teaching you. So I knew that all of these villages needed water. There was a stream, there is a stream in my village, but it's just a stream, as we know in most parts of Africa. You know, people go there to carry water, they go there to bathe and do all kinds of things. So we had to harness it, build a catchment so that we can make that water available and connect taps to it. And then we had to get the Department of Health to come and test it to make sure that it's fit for drinking. So there was a lot we had to do. And once we put all of that together, I was able to raise some money here. And then I wrote to the embassy, and they were able to provide some additional money to do the work. So I will just say this again, there are two aspects to this. You can come up with what you want to do, or you can identify a company that is offering a grant to further their business objective. Okay. The grant is not repayable. I said that at the beginning. Grants are free funding.
Somebody's asking if TFM gives grants for health projects.
Okay, I'll leave that to Mr. Obi and Ebere.
I posted my reply in the chat, so I'm answering a lot of these questions by chat so we can move on.
Okay.
When you heard Reverend Florette talk about the 90 million grant he was able to apply on behalf of a company, a $90 million grant, TFM is not giving grants at that level. And but the training we're trying to give you is to take you to that level. We want you to get to the highest level, not just at the point and level that TFM is providing. You should consider what is available at TFM as an incentive to get you started in this direction. So I will say that even though TFM is not necessarily giving grants for healthcare projects, you should develop yourself to the point where you can look for those projects, look for those grants. There are, in every country here, you're going to find United Nations has offices. The United Nations agencies have offices in all the countries that are represented here. United Nations agencies like Population Agency, like UNICEF, and many other UN agencies, as well as the governments of US, like Reverend Florette said, government of Great Britain, Germany, France, they all have embassies. Every single one of them give grants in your country. Once your mind opens in that direction, you start gravitating and looking for how to get the information. So now you know the easy sources where you can find them right away in your country. Just want to gravitate to them. Embassies of most Western countries, almost major Western countries from Australia, Britain, France, Germany, US, they all give grants and that information is available. The United Nations agencies give grants. The information is available in the country. So these are sources you can begin to access what is available. And these days, they have websites. So you can easily, with your cell phone, access this information on their websites to update your knowledge and your information. I also want to point out that he gave us a resource. That resource that teaches you how to write grant. It was right there on the screen. You can learn everything you need there. It is worth thousands of dollars that you will pay somebody to. He gave it to you free. Just go to that website, start from the very first line and start learning in down. Any other questions?
Mr. Obi, can I just say something real quick? I
Yes.
see some questions here. Can we have the names of some institutions which give grants? Mr. Obi just answered that, and in the presentation, I made that clear. But I want all of you to know that focus on your country. This is a global, huge market, grant writing, but focus on your country. Focus on the international organizations that operate in your country. Focus on the countries that have embassies in your country. Then figure out the business idea you want grants for. Get support to put it together before you apply. So for example, in many of those countries Mr. Obi is talking about, where you have the UN, you have regional organizations, transportation, for example, is an issue, where the aid that they provide cannot reach the people that they want to provide it for. So ask yourself, in anything in life, the person that succeeds is the one that finds a need in the society and offers a solution to it. That is the foundation. So it's not just about me giving you a list of companies and you start writing to them, I want a grant, and you don't tell them, you want a grant for what? Have you looked at the things we laid out here? Are you a legal entity? You want a grant as an individual? Do you have the experience? Do you have the expertise? So let's start with the basics. Okay.
All right. There are a few more questions that are popping up. Sarah Luna, I see you have your hand up. Can you put your question in the chat so that we can address it? Or do you think are we skipping your question? Sarah Luna, if you think we're skipping your question, go ahead and open your mic and talk. If you think your question has not been addressed from the chat. I see questions here that asks, which discipline or course do TFM undertake at universities to become a writer? I'm not sure how the question is structured, but I guess you're asking what course do you read in university to become a grant writer? Reverend Flore, is there
I can answer
course?
that. I can answer that. There are no courses per se. You may find a university here and there that could have a program for grant writing, but you don't have to go to a university to learn grant writing. You need to be educated enough. That's why I said at the beginning, you have to have a certain level of education. You need to be able to write. There are lots of people who are educated, but they don't know how to write. And I told you, you could have a good idea. You don't have to know how to write. You need to connect with someone who would help you put that idea on paper and go through the process of submitting that for a grant where there's one available. So this is about networking and connecting also. I also mentioned to you that you may want to share this with your parents. Your parents, I don't know them, but they may be educated. I know many people whose parents are university professors. They are very surprised when I present this to them. Even universities, I really believe that by the time I'm through with what I have in mind for Cameroon, for the University of Buea, and possibly University of Bamenda, they will be jumping to apply for grants to a lot of institutions in the US and other countries that they are connected with. We're getting echo from somebody. Okay. So I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you. There's a question: what help or assistance do TFM offer to fresh young, I guess, men who are willing to form a company?
What I like in that question is fresh young.
Well, the most important thing to know about business, because when you say company, I assume you're referring to business. Whatever it is, whether it is business, whether it is non-profit, whether it is grants, the idea, the concept is the most important thing. It's not so much about who is going to help me or who is not going to help me, but it is the learning and the knowledge. So the number one thing that TFM is trying to do is to expand our thinking and to give us the tools that you need to be able to move forward. For instance, many grants these days have a template form, and they simply ask you questions. Okay, you have grants that will give you $5,000 for what you want. You have grants that may give you $10,000. You have grants for $1 million. Many of them these days, when you go to the place where you submit, they just develop a set of 10 questions. If you can answer those questions and think through and give good answers, you may be able to scale and go to the next point. So teaching you, exposing you, and showing you how to get it done is more of what entrepreneurship is all about. Entrepreneurship is not just about who will give me money so I can go do something. No. So when you're asking what assistance does TFM, the assistance that TFM has is what is happening right now as we speak.
Okay.
Yeah, Reverend Flore has already given you a fantastic website. That website, believe you me, is worth more than $5,000. You're going to go for a course that will teach you grant writing. That website alone and the content of what it has is more than $5,000. My answer to the question about how TFM gives you assistance is happening as we're speaking right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. The issue is that many times people get information and they don't realize the value of the information they have. Every single person here who is interested in grants should make sure that you go to that website and complete that training free of charge. And it's high quality training. When somebody at his level who has handled very high level grants in the United States points to you a resource where you can learn everything, you want to make sure you take it very seriously. Okay. Yeah. Now let's see if there are other questions.
Mr. Obi, can I just say that I really appreciate what you just said. Assistance is happening right now. You guys should just think about the effort of TFM, of Mr. Obi, of those Dr. Joyce, of Ebere, of myself, not only to get up at 4 in the morning to get ready to present these wonderful things to you, but the whole program for all the days that is taking place. So, and we are also African, so I don't want to make anybody feel bad, but I need to point out to you that in some of these questions, what I see is just a desire to give me, and give me. You have to take this information and do the very least you need to know to do to position yourself. So if you were to reach out to me, let's say I decide to work out something with Mr. Obi and Ebere and say, okay, let's filter people who really want to get into grants. And you are one of those that sense, okay, I'm interested. The first thing I'll ask you is, have you gone through the material that we presented? Have you gone through the site? And I'll ask you questions to make sure that you have. I will ask you, what's your level of education? Can you write? So what are you looking for? If you cannot write, it doesn't mean you're disqualified. You may have a wonderful idea. What is your grand business idea? So that we can find out if we can help you. But none of this is possible if you are not prepared to put in the effort and do the work that is necessary. That is just the truth. These people, Mr. Obi and Ebere, did not get to where they are and are doing what they are doing by birth. They went to school. They tried some things that didn't work. They looked at what other people are doing. They applied themselves. If you look at TFM in 2001 and TFM today, very different. They have grown. It is a process. That's why I told you that what we are teaching you about grants is not about, okay, we finished on Sunday, so next week I'm writing grants. I made that very clear. It is about you getting this information, doing what you need to do, applying yourself, even sharing with your parents. I'm going to go back to that, who may be educated, who may be in institutions that, oh, never thought of this, and engaging with us. So, I mean, I can talk for the next 1 hour. What you have received is incredible. And what Mr. Obi just said, please take it to heart.
Thank you, Reverend Flored. Very, very important. So you can see there's a disposition to help beyond. We only have few minutes and you can't exhaust everything. I see a very important question from Uganda, and I think that question captures a lot. Victor from Uganda says, how can I qualify for a mentorship program for grant writing, TFM? See, that's a question I love, because that question shows that he recognizes that beyond this event, he wants to connect and then continue the process of grant. Very, very strategic question. Mm-hmm. So, Victor, just make sure you are in the forum. I believe there's a forum, a WhatsApp forum for all those who attend this program. Make sure you're there, number one. Number two, reach out, TFM. Reach out also to Reverend Flored directly. Okay, feel free to reach out. What we have is an open platform. I don't feel that you must come, we don't want to create bureaucracy where you must come to TFM before you can get to Reverend Flored. You can reach out to him directly. However, just know that you should be in the forum where everybody is from this very retreat, and then reach out directly to TFM. You can go to the website, make sure you make contact, get some money, and make sure you have credit and call, so that sometimes when you talk to somebody, things happen. There are people in last year's retreat who reached out directly. And by today, they have moved forward with so many things, including even grant writing, have moved forward. So Victor, reach out. Just reach out until you speak to somebody. Okay? TFM has their website, we have a phone number, we have an address, and you can get to speak. Make sure you reach out and then request for time to speak with somebody. Also, by the time the next speaker comes on, we will be addressing, there's some questions I see here we're going to be addressing by the end of today, and that is, how do you move forward? The things you learn, the things you're exposed to. How do we move forward to implementation? How do we make sure that you're connected for mentorship? So the next person who's going to be coming on, the next facilitator who's going to be speaking, Linda, after a little break, will be sharing with us the platform she has across Africa, different countries in Africa, through which you can engage in order to learn and apply many of the things you're going to be hearing from us here. So hang in. If you're there, hang in till the very end, because we will be gradually getting to the issue of implementation, applying and achieving success in the things that we have shared here. I don't know if there's any other important question that is still hanging. If there is, we will handle it along the line so that we can allow Reverend Fred to go. But since you said you want to watch the video clip, I think we'll go ahead now to quickly see the clip. That clip is from Nigeria. They were able to put together the feedback and testimonials. So we're going to share that very, very quickly, just about maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and then we will transition into getting feedback. Maybe one person from each of the locations sharing what they learned from last year and how it changed their life, how it made a difference for them in their life. So I'll quickly go ahead and pull up that video. Just give me a second. I'm going to do that. Liv, you can all see my screen now.
Yes.
Let me make sure the audio will come through. Do you hear the sound? Do you hear the sound of video?
No. Yes, we do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, the program really expanded my mind on so many things, ranging from relationship with people, how to manage humans, the financial aspects of the retreat.
We're giving tactics on how to spend money. 10% on tithe, right?
Yes.
And that 10% on charity.
charity.
You save part of it. You save for emergency, right?
Yeah.
And then you save for.
You also give yourself too.
Yes, give your so many terminology that we are taught. Self-abuse, selflessness, and then selfishness. Those are the three spending habits. But we advise to go for selflessness. You go to God, you go to people, and go to yourself. You cannot balance the entire equation.
Before now, I used to have this kind of infidelity complex within my own self. But after this program, I found out that I can add value to myself.
Yes, value.
I can add value to myself. That's my efficiency, effectiveness, and my capability.
And your
Help me
capability.
to break it down into chunks.
Yeah, that's creating value, right? You thought about that.
Yes.
Effectiveness, efficiency,
and adaptability.
and adaptability. Yeah.
Where I work, I can create value where I work. Even as an individual, I can create value where I work. So when people meet me, they know my worth.
5 pillars, celebration of the 5 pillars. And these 5 pillars comprises of, 5 different aspects of our life which we need to, focus on, that will help us to grow spiritually, physically, and otherwise, even so that we have an amazing future without making a lot of mistakes. So they taught us different aspects we invest in: our financial freedom, our mental health awareness, our spiritual growth.
I learned that communication is one of the things that boosts relationship, and it matters a lot for an effective relationship to take place. And I also learned that forgiveness in relationship matters. And I also learned in financial freedom that it's very, very necessary for one to build his or her financial status.
As a small-scale business owner, I've understood that targeting, branding, and networking would really be of help to my business. And I've also learned that I need to rebrand, I need to retarget, and I need to re-network to be able to create value to my business.
Yeah, so I learned to understand my boundaries, create them, understand the boundaries of others.
Yes.
Yes, and also learn to respect it. And also, I've resolved to create more time for my study, my Bible study, my prayer, my walk with God, so that I can understand my purpose and give off more value.
From Friday night when we arrived, about the grants and business plan. First of all, I thought that business plan and grants is just a small essay. I never knew it's something you have to sit down and plan yourself very well. I've learned like so much things, and I can say now I can actually prepare a grant.
I'm not yet a business owner, on the process of being a business owner. And it has been a very difficult journey, because at times I would just be like, it's not better I just give up. But being here after this, just on that Friday, I have to make this decision that I'm actually going to push through my business. And when he talked about how to create revenue by how you can partner with people in the same business with you, and then you brand. And then he talked about targets, knowing your targets, how to serve your.
I'm excited to be part of this year's Young Adults Retreat. It's been a weekend of reflection on the issues that we have to deal with as young adults. The celebration of the 5 pillars stood out for me, but what was more fascinating was the connection between these 5 pillars. Take, for instance, the decisions that we make about money is evident on our current mental state and can even affect our relationship with people. We heard people share their experiences about their past and how this program is helping them make better life decisions. I hope to help young people in this category, especially with my knowledge of the 12 steps of recovery. I can't thank the Fourth Man Foundation team enough for this great opportunity to be part of this program, and I can't wait for next year's edition. Thank you.
All right. So that's a quick montage of participants from last year and what they took away. I would like us to maybe just use 5 minutes, if possible, for a few people who were here last year in 2022, and you have something significant you took away that has made impact. If you do, can you come forward and share with us? Make it quick and summarize. Any feedback from those who were here last year? What you took away and what impact it has made? I know some people are usually shy, because I know those who have shared their stories privately. I hope I won't have to call you out. You volunteer to come forward and share with us. Do I see somebody from Nigeria? Pearls Group. Looks like somebody. Are you coming up?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Scholastic Okonkwo from Nigeria. Last year, when the founder, Mr. Obinna Okoye, talked about financial freedom, and he talked about the difference between being rich and being wealthy. He talked about having other streams of income, getting investment in order for your money to work for you and not you working for the money. And he talked about, instead of saving much money in the bank, that it's good bringing out that money to invest on maybe land and other properties. And then I made a decision that the little money I've been saving, that I have to go and take it in getting an investment. And today, thank God, I'm a landowner. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. Sharing from the point of view of financial freedom. I would love to meet you 5 years from now so that you can tell us the value of that land. Because what you have done when you make an investment in an assets that are capable of growing on their own, when you make that investment, it's like somebody who has planted a seed. And once you plant a seed, guess what happens? It germinates, it grows, it matures. And some years down the road, it starts yielding fruit for you. So that's an very interesting story. Make sure you keep it for a couple of years so that it will compound, what we call compounding, which means your investment beginning to multiply and bear children, and the children bear more children. Down the road, definitely see the wealth. Thank you. Any more? We have somebody from Cameroon. You want to share, give some feedback? Go ahead.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Samachi Ben from Cameroon. Last year was quite impactful because I came for the program at a really depressing time in my life. At that personal time, was battling financial problems, mental problems, basically social problems and all that. During the program, I got a chance to network with many other people. I got a chance to learn from Reverend Flored. I asked the question on mentorship, and his answers guided me. It made me realize, it helped treat one syndrome, let's say the pride syndrome, the egoistic syndrome which I had in me. I felt like because I knew people who were in certain places, I knew a few people I could maybe be like them, I forgot to know their story. So it gave me time for the past year to develop on myself, to work on myself. And from the constant emails from the Fordman Foundations, the newsletters, it has helped me build myself. And for grant writing, I also like to say, I also got into professional grant writing. I have been able to do over 10 grants, write over 10 successful grants for different people in the past year from the trainings of last year. And some of my grants my personal grants have been successful, all thanks to the lessons I learned from the Fordman Foundation Young Adult Retreat of last year. Thank you very much, sir.
Wow, thank
Wonderful.
you. Cameroon, thank you. Reverend Flored, that shows the work you're doing behind the scene, because he couldn't have written that from a 30-minute presentation here. So he must have connected. He must have connected privately and subsequently use the knowledge, move ahead. So thank you so much for sharing that. And it bears repetition. It's not about the 30 minutes that we do here. It's not about the 1 hour presentation here. That simply stimulates your mind and points you in the direction you should do and seek further help and relationship. So I know that the last person must have followed up with Reverend Flored. As a result, he has grants he has able to get. Maybe next time he will take that topic and give us the details of how he got.
I think the key thing is that young man applied himself, which you and I have been stressing, that you have to look at the materials, begin the process, then you can get support to help you along the way. And that young man definitely has been diligent, and I'm really grateful that he has achieved the results that he has so far.
Okay. All right, so we will continue to do this across the day. but we need to move on. So if there are others who have the testimonies they want to share, just let us know. Let Dr. Joyce know, send a message. I'll tell your coordinator. Your coordinator knows how to get the information across on the chat to Dr. Joyce, and we will pause at different times to get more testimonials. But we need to move on. I would like to call the results of the events, those who were successful in the application. And once we are done with that, the next person who is going to be speaking will be Linda. Okay. So let me switch. This was where we were before we had to move to the station from Reverend Flored. He already did the review. He gave the feedback on some of the things that you need to pay attention to in order to improve what you've written for those who submitted. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. The fact that you're winning something in this very grant doesn't mean that your grant proposal was wonderful or perfect. This is done to encourage you. Okay, so there's a lot that he pointed out before we got started. He pointed out some of those issues, communication issues, thinking through your points very well. But let's go through this quickly. So a quick summary of the feedback is on the screen, and I'll just summarize it quickly, even though he has addressed it. So while we went through the essays that were submitted, it's evident that many people struggled to fully understand the requirements of the entrepreneurship essay. Okay, many people struggled to understand what was required. They didn't provide enough details to effectively explain their business ventures or their plans for running them. You find that you may have an idea in your mind, but you're not able to communicate it very clearly. Additionally, there were a noticeable number of spelling and grammar mistakes. Spelling and grammar mistakes. That is quite common, and we see that a lot. When your document has those errors, it totally takes away from focusing on the very thing you're saying. But I believe that the next speaker, Linda, is going to be showing us some interesting things that can help, even with things like spelling and grammar. When she comes on, everybody wants to listen to what they want to. So we did see a lot of spelling grammar, and it is not good. The technologies we have today, which she will share, show you how you can present flawless proposal. Particularly in essays from non-US applicants, it's possible that the limited access to technology tools you need for proofreading contributed to this issue. It's truly admirable that everyone aspires to create businesses that benefit communities. Okay? Business is supposed to solve problems in your community. However, it's important to address the specific requirements of the essay instead of primarily focusing on the need. A lot of people are basically explaining their need for the grant, their need for the money. That sounds more like you're just interested in the money, just give me the money. Rather, what is required of you is to show that this business makes sense, it's going to be profitable, and that this business is going to solve problems and be profitable. If a business is not profitable, it's going to collapse, it's going to fold up, going to die. Nobody wants to put money in business. So don't focus so much on the problems you have and your need for collecting money. Focus a lot more on the questions and to think through how the business will survive and well. For future applications, there are some recommendations. First, we encourage you to take the time to thoroughly understand what the essay is for. It's crucial to delve into the nuances of the requirements. Additionally, I urge you to carefully review your writing to identify and correct errors, spelling and grammar errors. Do some research about your business area and can greatly contribute to writing a robust short-term or long-term plan. Moreover, it will be beneficial for applicants to outline how they envision utilizing the scholarship fund in relation to their business endeavors. By incorporating these suggestions, applicants can enhance the quality of their essay and increase their chances of success. Again, a business plan or grant writing requires a lot. So invest time into learning what it takes to put together a good plan. That's the summary of what we're really saying here. And then on issues of spelling and grammar, there are technology tools that make you write excellent English, excellent grammar, excellent spelling, excellent expression. Okay. So having said that, the people who were successful go through their names very quickly, and then subsequently you'll be contacted. So from we have Shifan Sama Nduma from Cameroon, $200. We have Obiajunwa Mesoma Goodness from Nigeria, $100. We have Conte Doris Sierra Leone, $75. Stephen Precious, Nigeria, $50. Tera Kung from Cameroon, $100. Ernesto Antonio from Guinea-Bissau. They are categorized. So we're looking at Guinea-Bissau and Liberia and Congo. So Ernesto Antonio from Guinea. Actually, I should have finished the Nigerian group, the Sierra Leone and Cameroon and Nigerian group. I didn't finish the names there. So back to the first group that is highlighted in blue. Chikodil Gift Udogu, $200. Oluchukwu Perpetua Wana, $100. Tamanji Rollins, so $75 as Cameroon. Then we move to the next line, marked with red, Congo, Liberia, Guinea-Bissau. Ernesto Antonio, Guinea-Bissau, $200. Silvarion Nank, I apologize really if I'm not getting the names perfectly. I should do my best. $100. Daxolin Wonders, Liberia, $75. Alex, Liberia, $50. We have Luwala Jerija from Congo, $200. Edwin and Clay from Liberia, $100. And Richard Danju from Congo, $200. Then we move on to Uganda, Tanzania, South Sudan. There we have John Reno, South Sudan, $200. Mvika Christine, Uganda, $100. Christine Kenyi, South Sudan, $75. Aninga Christine, Uganda, $50. Grace Rita, Uganda, $100. Pony Ruth, Uganda, $200. Emmanuel Lomoro, Uganda, $75. Alonso Victor, Uganda, $50. I think I should have pointed out that the you can see how the numbers on the left, I think that represents how well they did in their rank. Then also we have Isaac Joseph, Uganda, $200. Bernard Ayiko, Uganda, $100. Then we move to the last group, USA. We have AC Abba, $300. Darlene Kume, $150. Medoa Kanusha, $300. Naomi Diggs, $200. So please, can we give a round of applause to all these people? Let's rejoice with them. I know that not everybody who applied was successful, but the Bible says we should rejoice with those who are rejoicing, mourn with those who are mourning. I hope nobody's mourning today. This is just a token to encourage you. I see some names here who made it this year, and last year they didn't make it. They didn't get any grant last year, but I recognize a couple of names that this year they were able to get access to some grant to be able to accomplish what they applied for. So thank you all for those who applied. We will move on now to have the next speaker. We will move on to the next speaker, but you should expect, if you are one of those who won, expect to get your certificate as a certificate that goes along with the award. And that certificate is going to be transmitted through your coordinator. Okay, your coordinator will get a certificate. Oh, I see some people seem to have theirs already. We have DRC, hold it so I can pin you. So we have a certificate from DRC. She's holding her own. Lual Jerija, she already has her own. Okay, thank you for bringing it close to the camera. So yes, so in addition to the cash, you will have that certificate to show the effort you put in and the reward that you got. Does somebody else? Okay, Guinea. Okay, I see. Okay, I see Guinea. They are having their certificates already. You're lighted. Are you sure? Oh, I think. Okay, Guinea. Hold on, Guinea. I'm going to spotlight you so you can. Yes. Right. What is sharing the screen? Sarah Lune, can you? Okay. All right. Well, as you all receive your certificate. Can you mute yourself? I'm not sure where that sound is coming from. Okay. All right. So thank you, coordinators, for making that happen and giving out the certificates. If you haven't gotten yours, you will get it at some point. So now we're going to move on to the next presentation. I know we have people from different parts of Africa. We have those that are predominantly French-speaking countries. We have people who are from English-speaking countries. So far, we have been flowing a lot in English. I believe there is an interpretation going on at the different locations. We also have those who predominantly speak Portuguese. We're going to have somebody come forward who is very comfortable in these languages. Some people are just born talented across the board, and whatever it is they do, they excel. I never learned French beyond vous avez back in the day. Eske. That's all I knew back in high school. So Linda is extremely fluent in French. You would think she's a French woman. She's so fluent in English, you would think she's the Princess of England as well. And she's really amazing in so many ways. But today, she's going to be speaking to us on a topic that is extremely important. Please, everybody should pay attention. She's going to be speaking on a topic that is so important, so cutting edge, that if you miss out from what she's going to be talking about the next couple of years, you may wonder what happened to you. So let me get her on stage so that she can then introduce what she has to say. And then subsequently, she will be very instrumental into helping people beyond conference and the retreats, because she has a network of training outfits across Africa. That's a different thing we will have to press later on. But for now, I would like us to put our hands together and welcome Linda Dobe to have her presentation. So Linda, you are welcome. You can complete the introduction and then carry on with your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you. And Linda, feel free to speak in French too. Remember, we said we want the French to also know that they are right here and they're well represented right at the top of the high stage.
Yeah, so I was definitely going there. So all of you English speakers, give me 1 little minute. I will do this presentation in English since there is someone translating in French, but I'm not sure about the reverse into English, but I need to give a very special welcome to my French-speaking people, if that's okay. All right, je vois qu'il y a des gens qui sont levés assez. Bonjour tout le monde, comment allez-vous? Je veux vous voir les mains en l'air. Bonjour à tous. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres francophones dans la salle aujourd'hui? Au Cameroun, est-ce qu'il y a des gens? Ok, d'accord, je suis super excitée d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui. Moi, je suis Linda Dobe, j'habite aux États-Unis. C'est un coucou très spécial à tous mes jeunes frères et toutes mes sœurs qui parlent français. Je vais faire ma présentation aujourd'hui en anglais juste parce que la majorité est anglophone. Par contre, ce que je vais faire pour vous spécialement, c'est en fait, à la fin de la présentation, il y aura mon email qui sera partagé avec vous. Et je vais vous encourager en fait de me contacter après cette présentation et on pourra faire aussi une présentation en français juste pour vous et avoir un moment spécial pour discuter de ces sujets qui sont très importants pour vous. D'accord? Enfin, pas juste pour vous, pour tout le monde. Ok, c'est bon, si c'est bon, les pouces en l'air, ça va? Super. Ok. All right, everybody. Good morning. I have shared a link in the chat. You can literally click on it if you have access to it and follow along. I will also share my screen, but this link is there for you to keep and look at well beyond today's presentation. Okay, I will pull up my screen right now. Let me first share my screen. If that will work. And we'll get started. All right. Let me go in presentation. Okay. Right. I'd like everybody to let me know if you see the screen, if you see the screen in full screen.
we see that screen, and then we see the one on your right.
And my notes, okay, which is
Yes.
what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second, let me exit this. And, whoops, how do I exit that? Sorry, this is and the slideshow. All right, let me share a different screen because I was trying to share. This screen instead. All right, let's try this again. How about now?
Yes.
Full screen?
Yes, full screen.
Awesome. All right. Well, hello again, everyone. My name is Linda. I have the great pleasure of making this presentation today. So the title of my presentation is AI, the enabler for the virtual assistant of the 21st century. Or you can replace virtual assistant to, as I saw this morning, grant writer, scientist, musician, any work, right? Essentially, AI or artificial intelligence is the enabler for humans of the 21st century. Okay, so I'm going to ask again across the room just a few questions. Has anyone heard of ChatGPT? You can raise your hands if you have. Okay, all right. How many of you have used ChatGPT? Interesting. Interesting. All right. So I see that ChatGPT is something that people have been talking about online, right? It's about this new next level Google that seems to answer all your questions. And a lot of people who are new to AI will say, oh my God, that's AI. AI is so much bigger than that, and we're going to talk about it in a few moments. I am so excited to talk about this topic with you today, about all of the various ways that we can leverage the power of artificial intelligence to significantly improve our productivity. All right. So I'm all about being real and practical and delivering real value, and I think you all are. So I will anchor this presentation specifically around the role of the virtual assistants. And why that role? Actually, I decided to use that role because it's really easily accessible, and it's a tool, it's a role that can be learned by anyone. So we talked about grant writing earlier, and we talked about you need to be super educated. Well, you need to have a level of education, and you need to have some skills in writing. Virtually, being a virtual assistant is available to even high school students. In fact, one of my team members joined me while he was in high school or college, we say in Africa, as a virtual assistant. So it just requires you to be disciplined, to be inquisitive, and to be present, right? So it's an entry level job that you could do to pretty much either fund your studies, or it could be an additional income stream for you. It could even be a business that you could start and do full time for some of you aspiring entrepreneurs. So I will anchor this presentation on the role of, based on the role of the virtual assistant and how AI can really enable it. And what we will do after I introduce myself to you is to define those two concepts of artificial intelligence and virtual assistants. And then we will start talking about ways that AI can improve your productivity. That is, what is the value proposition of artificial intelligence? And finally, we will take a glance. I like to say take a glance because so much to talk about. We will take a glance at practical applications that can supercharge your productivity. And just as they said earlier, I can't cover everything in 30 minutes. That would be like trying to boil the entire oceans on all of planet Earth. Impossible. But it will definitely pique your interest, and hopefully the conversation can continue after this presentation. So are you ready? All right, so let's dive in and discover all of these amazing capabilities. All right, so first of all, my name is Linda Dube. I am a proud member of Harvest Only, and I have about 15 plus years of combined experience in digital transformation, process improvement, and reengineering. Basically everything that has to do with finding ways for technology to support, enable, and bolster the efforts of a business. All right. When I'm not in church or doing all that work in corporate America, I also work as a founder and CEO of Kava Innovate, which is a nonprofit on a mission to empower youth like you and older people like me, or even my uncles and aunties, to empower all of us to own the future by promoting tech literacy through practical training, providing dream support, and to all of you tech entrepreneurs out there, and also to expose all of you to the art of the possible for the 21st century. All right, so what we do at Kava Innovate, like I said, dream support, tech training, apprenticeship, that's internships actually for students in tech majors. If you are a software engineer major, if you are a software testing, anything that has to do with computer engineering, or even business analysis, systems analysis, digital marketing, anything digital related, we have a place for you for internship or job placements. We also do a crowd-funded project, back to school drives, food drives. So we will make it available. You can also apply for us to support your projects. All right. At Kava Innovate, our mission is not just a statement of purpose. It's a promise that we make to ourselves. Like, it's a promise we'll make to the young people we serve, to the families, to the communities, and to ourselves. We're relentless in our mission to ensure that you're well prepared for the challenges of the 21st century. So, all right, we've talked about who I am, what we do, how we can help you. Make sure at the end of this presentation, make sure to fill out the survey to give me your information, your phone number, your email, your interest, what else you want to know outside. Interested in internships, scholarships, grants, do you have a project you want us to fund? Do you just want to talk about how to get started and learning more about AI? Make sure you fill out the survey at the end of the presentation. The link will be there for you. Make sure you reach out to me if you'd like to talk to me personally or someone on my team. We will have time to talk. There's an appointment, the schedule for you to just sign up and say, I'd like to talk. And also visit our website. All this information will be there at the end of the presentation for you. All right, so let's get started. All right, today I have 30 minutes, or more like now 22 minutes, to convince you that you cannot afford to ignore or delay adopting artificial intelligence in your daily life, or to push into taking proactive steps to leverage AI. You simply can't afford to ignore it. It is the driving force of the 21st century. It is the enabler for businesses and people. And if you do not get on that wagon, you would be like the only person who does not have a cell phone, does not have WhatsApp, does not have Facebook, or is not on TikTok or Twitter. Could you imagine living in this world right now without a cell phone or without the internet? Basically, artificial intelligence is the next level in our progression towards in this intelligent age that we're now in. So hopefully, if you've not yet been familiar with it, by the end of today, you are going to be curious about it and get started. Now, what is AI? AI is bigger and really ubiquitous around us. There are many, many capabilities for AI, but I want you to imagine a world where technology can literally replicate human intelligence and perform complex tasks with remarkable efficiency, sometimes even better than human can. Well, that's exactly what AI is. So AI is defined, AI or artificial intelligence, it refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that can perform tasks requiring human-like understanding, reasoning, and learning. And the learning part is key here because what it means is just like you and I can, when I was 5 years old, I was not as knowledgeable as I am today, right? I didn't know how to code. I didn't know how to write, to read. I didn't know how to do many things, but there is the capability in my human brain to connect one neuron to the other and to the other and to another, to develop patterns, to develop the ability to recognize situations, scenarios, and to provide an intelligent response. That process of learning is very, very connected with who we are as thinking beings, as humans. And these days, these recent years, what machines have been able to do, what we as humans have been able to make machines to do, is to think like us, the ability to understand, to learn, to recognize pattern, and guess what? To interact with humans, to support us or to enable us in everything we do. All right, so that is AI. Now, it has seen remarkable advancements in recent years. And look, we're going to get into this. I'm excited. But first, before we do, let me define what a virtual assistant is so that if anybody here is interested in that, you can also participate. We can talk about that later. For the purpose of this conversation, a virtual assistant is a remote professional. So if you're an assistant, you're an office assistant, you're sitting right next to your boss. If you're a virtual assistant, you're away, you're remote. And so everything you do is 100% remote and digital. And virtual assistants provide administrative, organizational, sometimes even personal supports to individuals or companies or businesses, right? So that they can enable their clients to focus on their core responsibility. In other words, I will pick up the phone for you. I'll provide you customer service. I will file all your documents for you, or I'll answer your emails for you. I'll pick up some easy tasks. I'll do your accounting for you. They leverage technology and digital communication tools to assist with those tasks, coordinating meetings, conducting research, handling communications, scheduling appointments, all of that on behalf of the clients. All right. So if anyone has held an administrative job or wants to hold an administrative job, we all know sometimes that the workload is sometimes overwhelming, but they're not, because now AI is here to revolutionize how we operate and help us conquer all of those challenges. So now the biggest question is, to AI or not to AI? That is the question. And it shouldn't even be a question. I'm here to tell you that you need to AI, as in you need to be on board with AI. Now, the biggest, I'm gonna just jump right in with a comparison. Picture this. You are a virtual assistant and you have to provide administrative tasks. Like I just said, you have to communicate, you have to write emails, sort through emails, organize emails, and documents. You have to archive those documents. You have to pick up the phone, communicate. You have to, by chat, by email, but you have to talk to customers and to partners and to your boss. You have to make decisions, such as, well, do we have enough pens in the office? How much should we buy of, those drinks? You have to remain organized in everything and juggle multiple things at the same time. And you have to provide assistance to your boss at the same time. Now, if you don't have any AI support, you fall under this category here, which is what most people do today. You would do most of your tasks manually. You would have a high overhead. You would operate from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. because you're only human, you need to eat and sleep. And you would have to rely on your experience, books or Google, or reports to try to come up with some decisions, presenting some information to your boss. Or you would have, you're human. So getting everything organized is not always for everybody. You come with some challenges. And you would have to figure out the answers all by yourself for your boss all the time. All right, you'll have to be on top of every single thing. Now, picture this. You are a virtual assistant and you are equipped with powerful tools. Possibilities are endless. With AI, you can turbocharge your productivity. You can achieve greater efficiencies. You can make smarter decisions, and you can become the ultimate multitasking maestro, right?
Linda, just
Sure.
one second. There's a request from Uganda. They say they would prefer a slower pace so that they can follow. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be interesting. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to go through this in 30 minutes then. Can I have a little bit more time?
Yeah. Just you take your time, please.
Okay.
Yeah, they want to make sure they're following pace.
Awesome. Thank you for the feedback. And thank you for the extra time. All right. So let me reduce this. Okay. So we talked about being manual, normal virtual assistants. And then we talked about being supercharged with all of this extra supports that you could get from AI. All right. So research, and I'm talking about the top consulting companies in the world, McKinsey, Accenture, and all those consulting companies have reported that AI-powered automation could lead to productivity improvements of 40%, right, in administrative tasks that you have to execute. That's giving you back 40% of your time back. Also, for communications, such as communication like chat, email, phone, leveraging AI. Like, I don't know, sometimes you may go online and you'll see there's a little pop-up that say, hello, my name is, I don't know, I am your personal chat assistant, your virtual assistant. That's really never a human. That's what you call a chat bot. And that chat bot is designed and programmed, right, to answer many frequently asked questions, literally. But that bot does not sleep. So while you sleep, you have somebody who can actually answer the questions of your customers or the team members. And if there is a question, if the bot becomes really stuck, it says, you know what, we'll get back to you. And in the morning, you wake up and you have time to look into the question and respond. But most of these questions could easily be answered by the chat bot, right? That's, again, an additional, at the very minimum, 30% of your productivity. That accounts for the time that you're sleeping, right? AI-powered planning, scheduling tools can also increase your productivity by even just 25%. AI-driven document management tools can reduce the time spent on document-related tasks by 30 to 60%. So you don't have to always try to figure out where does this email apply, how does this apply, and these are tools that we're going to talk about later in the presentation. But you can have access to that even today. If you have a Google account, you see that Google attempts to Gmail attempts to automatically reorganize your inbox into social. This is a priority. This is more forums, and you can create your own custom files. Am I still fast? Okay. So you also, one ways that they do that is by tagging your email. We'll talk about that as well. You can save 2 hours just like that every day. And you wouldn't have to sort your email, prioritize them. Sometimes even response drafting. The smart writing when typing an email where Google tries to finish a sentence or even provide a response to an email that you just received. All of that is AI powered. You can save 2 hours of your day, of an 8-hour day, from doing all of these things, right? And lastly, AI-based knowledge management system, and that's another thing. Can reduce the time that you spend on information storing, information retrieval, information interpretation, data interpretation, and knowledge gathering by 60%. Now, what would you, as a human, be able to do if you could get all of that time back, right? Now, you could decide to take on a second customer if you're working for yourself. You could decide to do more important work if you, instead of being a virtual assistant, if you own your own business, right? This is time back that you can use and put back into other important activities that are more relevant to your core competencies, right? Now, I hope this context that I set was helpful. Now, I just want to dive into some incredible ways in which AI can transform and already transforms our daily lives and our work lives. We're talking about automating repetitive tasks, harnessing the power of natural language processing, and I'll explain what that is, intelligent scheduling, streamlined document organization, efficient email management, knowledge-based creation, and personal insight. So everybody, brace yourself because we're gonna get ready for an exciting productivity boost. All right, meet Mr. Pepper. Pepper is a picture that I found online. I just give him the name of Mr. Pepper. He's a robot, and he's gonna be your assistant today. Say you would like to, for everything that I talked about right now, data entry, capturing information. So recognizing patterns for scheduling meetings. I don't want to have to go and schedule this meeting for 15 people and trying to find time on their calendars. Mr. Pepper, can you please find free time on everybody's calendar and schedule this meeting for me? All right. You have various tools here, like mention Zapier, like Power Automate, which is very powerful, by the way. Power Automate does a lot more than just automating the data entry. It's incredibly powerful in the sense that you could say you could set up Microsoft Power Automate to say when this event happens, when this email happens, trigger this entire process. So instead of just schedule an email, you could say when an email comes from a customer making a request to purchase, a pair of shoes, trigger an alert to notify someone in the customer service to start in operation to start processing this order. And at the same time, trigger a message to the accounting system to create an account receivable entry in the ledger. You could also contact the logistics team to get ready for shipping, and also send an email to the customer to say, we are working on your order. Think about the coordination. If the pair of shoes is in stock, if we have it, right? If there's no delay from weather, okay, or strikes or whatever, then issue a time estimation to the customer saying your shoes should be delivered to you between 5 to 7 days. If there's a hurricane somewhere, thunderstorm, power is down, or we don't have the shoe in stock, issue rather, instead of 7 to 5 days, send an email. In the email, the confirmation email, write that the shoes will be made available between 10 to 14 days and list out the reason for, the delayed timeline, which would be there's a hurricane, we're doing everything we can to make it happen. You could use Microsoft Power Automate for a lot of things. And obviously, not one tool can do it all for you. All of those tools that we're talking about now, we will talk about, have to come together to provide a solution to support you, right? But Microsoft Power Automate is a very good way to just jumpstart everything, the entire process. Now, natural language processing. That is, I know, let me actually just try to see if I can pop up this here. It's just better if I do this real time. Can you see the screen change to Microsoft Edge?
Yes,
Awesome.
we see a Microsoft.
All right, so this is Microsoft Edge. Everybody can go online today and just, see. If you notice, there's this little bar on the right. And if you don't, just upgrade it to the latest version. Here, if you go to Bing, the new Bing, I can actually start having a conversation with it. Sometimes ChatGPT seems to be cryptic, but this is easily available to you. This is the most recognizable, easily accessible form of natural language processing. I guess the evidence of it, right? So those tools are responsible for understanding. If you remember in my introduction of what AI is, this is truly the bridge between machines and humans. This is the part of the machine that now has learned to talk to you in conversations in ways that you understand. Like in the past, I would have to code a lot of this. You have to write a lot of if, then, else statements. That's what you call it when you code, where you're giving instructions to the system always. You're saying, provide me this information. And then, if this is true, then do that. If it's not, then do this, right? But I am always in control of the conversation. I am constantly feeding inputs to the system, and the system responds to it, and the system is limited. Now, today, what we have is the ability for the system to understand human language well enough that instead of me instructing it all the time, the system can actually advise me. So I could write something like, hello, Bing, and Bing will say, stops responding. Hello, how can I help you today? Now, this is one thing that ChatGPT does not do. ChatGPT does not guess your next response, but Bing does, right? You can say, hey, can you tell me a joke? Or, as I did earlier this morning for the purpose of this presentation, I said, what can I do here? right? And Bing says, I can help you with a lot of things. What would you need help with? And I wrote, I want to learn about your AI capabilities. And all of a sudden, Bing gets excited and Bing responds, you know, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I did, and it provides links. And I can continue talking with Bing back and forth, or with ChatGPT, which is another NLP processing tool. I can talk with them in a conversation manner. A lot of the questions you asked earlier about grant writing, you can ask Bing, or you can ask ChatGPT. You could say, what is, how do I get started with grant writing? And Bing will go online. Bing will look at all of his database of, information from various sources and print this answer to you. And you can refine the answers based on basically what you need to do, what you want to do. Are you trying to find funding? Are you trying to find places where you could write? Are you trying to look?
You said 5 or 7.
Mr. Obi, are you speaking to me?
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So you could find places who are, looking for grants, who are offering grants to get started. Now, there are some limitations to these tools in that they cannot give you all the answers, but they can direct you to places and websites and resources that do. All right. So a lot of other things that these they can do. We talked about proofreading your documents when you're trying to do a grant application. You can literally go to ChatGPT and say, please proofread this for me. Please provide me with the best template for a grant, proposal. You can ask ChatGPT, look, I'd like to learn how to code. You could ask any AI tool, like, teach me how to code this. You could say, hey, I wrote this presentation. Please make it compelling. Please make it funny. Make it sad. Add a call to action to this. A lot of these questions, you could have had the same answers in the past, but you would have had to put in a lot of time into research. So what I am teaching you right now is valid not just for virtual assistants, it's also true for any walks of life. If you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you're a scientist, if you're a programmer, if you're a student if you're learning English, you could translate an entire document into any other language that you want. That is the power of natural language processing. I wanted to spend a little more time on this because this is really what is going to, once you can be curious enough about these tools, about ChatGPT or about Bing, if you can just decide to go there and be curious about it, it's endless. The possibilities are endless. You can learn about anything you want to learn about. You could find all the answers that you need. And this is a tool that goes with you every day, all day. All right. Now, the one last thing I'll say, and then I'll move on this. The big difference between Google, because right now today everybody goes on Google. Hey Google, Google does not have the ability to go into conversation. They are working on an AI tool. They're working on the NLP tool as well to compete with Bing and compete with ChatGPT and others. But if you go on the regular Google, you ask the question, you cannot build on it. So you have to keep asking questions like the old time programming. You have to keep asking the questions, right? But I would encourage you, once you've asked Google one question, in fact, instead of starting with Google, start with ChatGPT or start with Bing. And then when they show you some limitations, like I am not able to answer this question. Please, refer here and there, then go to Google. So I would like to challenge you to switch your search patterns from going to Google first to trying out those AI tools and engaging in conversations with it and understanding more. And you'll be surprised how it helps you. All right. Okay. So I'm going to move forward to the next one. Back to our presentation. We have proactive assistant that we talked about. That's, and again, Calendly, that I was talking about, the ability to suggest meeting times, to send reminders, reducing time, and looking into participants' availability. I work as a chief of staff, and I work with several executives and tools, and sometimes that is a nightmare, having to look through people's calendars, looking at who's available and when and how much time. And if I just had, if I could just have one of these calendars or assistant.2, I would be able to, push my time towards something much more much more interesting and applicable to me, like just important work. All right. Email management, I also talked about it, about the ability to have a prioritized list. Now, there are tools that can take it a step further, like these tools right here. Now, some of these tools that I wrote here, and of course you have the link, so you can refer to this later. Some of them are free, but some of them are paid, and most of them work better if integrated with other tools, right? But these are available to most people. They can help you optimize your workflow and maximize your efficiency. All right. When it comes to knowledge management, foldering, filing documents or data points into some different folders, putting together an archival policy, an archival system for retrieval, the ability to retrieve information and providing it in a meaningful way. All of this is actually available to us now through that. And Elasticsearch is a powerful service by AWS, but you also have SharePoint. Microsoft SharePoint also has that capability if you are familiar with SharePoint. It's kind of like your documents folder on your computer, where you can file all of your documents in files, except that it's collaborative. And you can actually do so much more. You can actually create entire web pages on SharePoint and embed those documents, or just build those documents into your web pages and collaborate. And so this entire knowledge management system and solution can help you collaborate. So you're not looking endlessly for this. Even Google Drive can also act as a knowledge management system. But again, Google Drive is very limited. When we talk about building knowledge base, there's also Confluence, there's Notion, and then there's Google. All of these systems are also there to assist you. Next is, and this right here, this is the biggest money-making just capability of AI. Everything else that I've shared before, that was more to make your life easy, right? It's to give you time so you can actually go about what you're supposed to do. But intelligent decision making, like what if I told you that AI can literally analyze your work patterns, right? Your revenue opportunities, your risks, and provide actionable insights to you. It can help you make data-driven decisions, on top of optimizing your workflow and maximizing your efficiencies. So think about it this way. You want to know, what are people into these days? I sell shoes, right? And I'm going to keep it very practical. Say you're 22 years old. You're very good at selling, and you want to start a drop shipping business. meaning you just want to buy and sell. You don't make shoes. You know, you want either to resell or you just want to connect the seller with a buyer and just get a commission on it. The first thing you need to know is, well, what do people like? What are people buying these days? You can do that by, you know, going around, you know, Equere, or going to Abidjan, or, you know, and looking down the streets, and you can take time to do that, or you can go to Google Analytics and say, pull the trends. What are people looking at? What are some buzzwords that people use to search for shoes these days? What are the trends? You can even know what people, what your customers want. Those people that are not even your customers. You can even start your sales funnel by saying, okay, I want to know what people like, so I can know who I target, so I can see what product to give them, right? And then you have tools like Tableau that says, okay, I can help you put all of those numbers into something that is visually easily accessible to you. You can manipulate the data. You can pull all of this data that you have from all of other systems to visualize it and create trends. You can have like, it's amazing how AI can help. And I suppose the difference with how people work today and how we're working in this new area is you have to collect the answers by yourself. You can connect all the systems to the entire ecosystem. I mentioned the weather, right? I know the weather right now where I live, like, you know, in my neighborhood here in the DC area, but I don't know the weather in Nigeria. I don't know the weather in Guinea-Bissau. I don't know the weather in Congo. But AI has deep neural networks into a lot of things and can accelerate my decision-making process by saying, yeah, it may be good here, but in this and that area, it's just raining. Your product's not gonna get on time. We're gonna make it. So all of these intelligent decisions that I was talking about in the middle, that's empowered by AI. AI goes more than something. It taps into multiple systems in multiple places, and it has all kinds of information. And this is something you can set up, which is going to be cost, you know, prohibitive. It's expensive to do it yourself, or you can connect to systems that already exist, that already have these databases of information, and you can tap into that to help inform your decisions. Now, something easy that we talk about in, well, it sounds easy, but it's abysmally complicated. Machine learning, right? Machine learning is the arm of AI that allows machine to recognize this pattern. Remember in the beginning when I was talking about the learning capabilities, AI, that's what we call machine learning, system learning, deep learning. Some people will go from everywhere around the world. And for example, feed millions of images. And you do that too without knowing. When you're trying to access a website and they tell you reCAPTCHA and they tell you select the pictures that are cats, right? And then they might throw in a rabbit. And you select 4 pictures that have cats. Guess what? You just fed the machine. What happens is we're reinforcing these patterns whereby now the system is learning based on our human brains, saying that I can now recognize a cat because I've been fed millions of pictures. And I can tell that 4, like these are cats and these look like cats, but they're lions. And this look a lion. No, that's a tiger. Oh no, this is definitely not even feline. This is a human being, right? And those systems are there, and you can, and those systems can now help you to say, okay, recognize this pattern, recognize this picture, and let me know what decisions I can make. So a very practical example, I used to work at Fannie Mae, and what Fannie Mae was able to do, what we were able to do, so I was a technologist architect there, we were able during COVID, because during COVID, nobody could go out, right? We were able to continue building inspections because Fannie Mae is responsible for all of the mortgages, most of mortgages in the country, making sure that people have, if you buy your house and you make your payments on it, especially if you're buying an apartment building, you need to be able to prove that you're maintaining the building. So every now and then, inspectors will go to those buildings and look around. But now the inspectors could not go and look around. So we had systems that were built with millions of images that could recognize a healthy wall or a wall that has cracks in them, a healthy pool, swimming pool, or a pool that was potentially not good. You know, walking trails, roofs, and those systems were fed through satellite. Those images were either provided through satellites or by the owners that just went around and snapping pictures. And guess what? The system, based on all of these images that were fed into it to recognize this is healthy, this is not healthy, this is good, this is bad. The system was able to identify with about 80 to 88% precision and accuracy that this has a problem. And the inspectors will look at those issues that had, at those photos that presented issues. Now, we're not yet at the point where AI will take over humans. It just sounds a little scary, just the thought that that will happen eventually, but it's smarter than us. But right now, AI is enabling us, number one, empowering us, and literally pushing all of our, I guess, capability beyond everything that we could have thought about, giving us back time and enabling us to make the right decisions at the right time so that we can make take the right steps for better tomorrow, for us, for our companies, for our customers, for the world. So,
Linda?
Sir.
Yeah. Oh, you had conclusion already.
Yes.
The US participants will be arriving soon because of time zone issue. They've called to my attention. Need for us to quickly, and we have yes, just because of the time zone issue, they will soon be coming into the.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and yeah, so that's perfect because I was actually done. As we conclude, I just want you all to remember that as we embrace AI and we leverage its transformative power, we can all become productivity superheroes. We can all deliver outstanding results. I encourage all of you to harness the potential of AI and embark on this exciting journey of increased productivity. I want you to, if I were to leave you with just a few words, I want you to believe in yourself, right? The future belongs to you. I want you to invest in yourself. Knowledge is wealth, and AI is pretty much the world's knowledge at your fingertips. It is wealth. It will help bridge the gap between you and anyone, anywhere else in the world in this 21st century job market, business market, and everything. Give your best in all that you do, all the time, and then be salt and light to your world. Based on that, this just basically just one more thing that I would say. How do I get started? Simple. You can read about AI online. Like I said, just go on Microsoft Edge and say hello Bing and get started. If you're already familiar with AI, you can pick up a tool, any tool, and you can start diving into it and exploring what it can do for you. You can also join an AI community online. Go on LinkedIn or just go on Instagram or on Facebook. There are communities around. You can enroll in a course with us or anywhere else to learn more about this, to get started and continue to develop your AI smartness. So again, like I said, there's a link that's available. You can fill out a survey. You can book a time. You can click here. These are links that you can click on. So you can fill out the survey, or you can click here to have a time to talk to me. If you have any other questions, comments, or you would like to get trained with us, you can write at training@cavainnovate.com, or you can just simply visit us on our website at cavainnovate.com. And that being said, back to you. I'm done. That's all for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. You covered a lot. We've talked privately, and you said a lot of exciting things. Before we get into questions, I want to do a quick wrap up of what you said. We have a wide age range. We have people 16, actually, even though we posted 18. But I know we have amongst us those who just finished high school. I know they finished high school in Nigeria at 16. Then we have people who are probably around 35. We have people here who are also technology savvy. And then we have people in the meeting who have never opened a laptop. We do have a very wide range of people in the audience. So I want to wrap up what you said for those who have never used a laptop, those who don't even know how to search Google, who have never heard of Google Drive. They're sitting right here. So I'm sure those who are at the high end, who understand a bit of technology, really absorbed a lot of what you said. So let me do a wrap up before we get into it. Two things, I just want to highlight two things she said. One is virtual assistant. She said it. Many people may not understand exactly what she meant when she said virtual assistant. So I will call on the Nigerian team. Is Oloma there? You need to just respond quickly. Either Oloma or Benita, who is there? I just want to make it very practical. And I have Oloma, if she's there, come forward to the screen. Okay, Benita, that's you. Oloma is not there. Olomachi is not there.
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So when you hear Linda talk about virtual assistant, she's essentially talking about the fact that you can live in Congo, you can live in Kinshasa, you can live in Uganda, Kampala. You can even live in a village without a vehicle, where vehicles cannot even get. You can live in any of those places in Africa, and the person you're working with, the person you're supporting, the person you are assisting lives in the United States. And the other person you are also assisting lives in Australia. And the third person you are assisting lives in England. So here is Benita. Benita, where do you live?
Nigeria, Enugu State.
Nigeria, Enugu State. I live in the United States. He's one of my assistants. I have several virtual assistants. How many times a day do we chat?
A lot. A lot. Yes.
So
Schedule meetings.
yeah, while many of you are still using WhatsApp just to post picture to your friends, Benita uses WhatsApp to chat with me like 20 times a day. When I have a meeting, when I have a Zoom meeting with an appointment here in the US, how do you help me? What do you do? How do we do it?
Okay, I send a reminder about the meeting, then schedule the meeting on Zoom and send the link to you. Or sometimes I'll host it, then make you a host in the meeting.
Linda said all these things. I'm very certain for those who were understanding, they were picking it. A whole lot of people didn't understand exactly when she said, that's the thing, here in America, we say things in one sentence, we move to the next one. That's the place of America discussion. This is Benita in front of you, living in Nigeria. And when I have a meeting in the United States, okay, I have a meeting in the United States, you will think I'm going to be looking for somebody in the United States to set up my meeting. No, it's a person in Africa, Nigeria, in Enugu, who sets up the meeting, sets up my Zoom meeting, sends the link, and opens the meeting even when I'm not there. Okay, that's virtual assistance. And I'm one person, and I have several. Is Pearl there?
Yes, sir.
Can she come? Let me ask her a few questions. I'm using this to break it down so that I don't want you to think that what Linda talked about is high technology for some high people. I want you to see, because I'm going to link it to artificial intelligence. Okay, here is Pearl. Pearl, do you write grants?
Yes, sir.
So when I find a grant in the US, what usually happens?
You send the details and then I work on it. We schedule a meeting and then discuss and review.
So Pearl is my virtual assistant living in Nigeria who handles grant issues for me. Did you have a meeting, a three-way meeting between the United States, Cape Town, Nigeria? Were you able to coordinate and serve clients in Cape Town and at the same time myself in the United States? Did we have a three-way virtual meeting?
Yes, sir, we had that meeting.
And so what were you doing? I mean, to make the discussion fast, did you help to set up the social media platforms of that client?
Yes, I helped set up the social media platform for the clients in Cape Town. And then we had to discuss afterwards.
So here I am in the United States, here is Pearl in Nigeria. She could very well be in the village, in her village. And there's this client in Cape Town. So I'm in the United States. I have a client in Cape Town, and I have Pearl, my virtual assistant in Nigeria, handle everything. Set up the social media. You all have social media. You're on Facebook, but you're not making money from it. But here is Pearl, goes to Facebook, sets up Facebook for this client, sets up her product. She designed a game, and she's a professor at the University of Cape Town, which is one of the best in Nigeria. And Pearl is in Nigeria assisting me with a job that I have with a client in Cape Town. Are you guys getting the picture? Virtual assistance means that people in Africa are taking jobs away from people in the United States. Any one of you here can be a virtual assistant. Oh, were you doing these things 1 year ago? Were these things you were doing 2 years, 3 years ago?
No, sir.
So a lot of these things you're doing them within the last 12 months to 18 months.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So between the last meeting, conference, retreat, and now, a lot of these things have started happening and developed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The reason why I wanted to call Olamachi to bring her forward because she's younger. Olamachi is much younger, just out of high school, secondary school, okay? straight out of secondary school. She's my virtual assistant in an academy in a village at Northia Village. Okay. When you see her face, you know that clearly she's young. She's just probably not even 19 years old yet. I'm not sure. You know, ladies don't want to talk about their age. But she's straight out of high school. High school. Okay. Oloma, how many times do we chat in a day?
Twice. Twice, sir.
When and when?
Morning and night.
What do you send, or what do you say first thing in the morning when you arrive?
I report my arrival at work.
Okay. And you add the list of things you will get done.
Yes, sir. I plan.
And then,
I report.
okay. What's the last thing you communicate before you leave?
The time I dismiss from work.
Okay. What was the last assignment I gave you? I gave you something to draft.
SOP.
SOP, Standard Operating Procedure.
Sir.
Okay. Yeah. This is high school graduate, just out of secondary school. So if you're in the group, you're in Uganda, you're in Congo, you are in Cameroon, and you are straight out of secondary school, okay? She's writing SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. Some of you will like, what is it? What is even that? What is the SOP you just wrote 2 days ago, in fact, yesterday? What was it for?
It was for a retreat.
Okay.
It was for...
So an SOP that will help you to plan and organize a retreat for the academy. Okay. So she's in the village. Where are you? Which village do you function from?
Northia Village.
Northia Village. Okay. So all I just did, take everything that Linda has just said and broken it down. Virtual assistant means you are not there with the person you are assisting. All of us are used to coming to work. Come in, your boss comes in, you all sit in the same building and you walk into his room and out. No. Virtual assistant, the reality of the world today is that you can be in any village that has internet access, and the person you're working for, person you're supporting, lives in the United States, lives in Australia. And what Linda said also is that that's you alone, maybe serving 5 people in 5 continents. Now, this is where AI comes in. All the people I just showed you are not yet using AI. They are virtual assistants. But watch what happens going forward. Olamachi had the job of doing an SOP. Now, when she learns AI, when she learns to go to GPT, when she learns to go to Edge, she's simply going to go there and say, hey, GPT, my boss asked me to do an SOP for retreat planning. GPT will create the SOP in 3 minutes and give her with perfect English. It will just copy it and paste to me within 5 minutes. So when you think AI is high-end technology, all these things I'm saying, Linda said them all. If you want, I can repeat and tell you where she sent them. So you just go and ask it question and it gives you what you want. Now, let me tell you this. I hope you guys don't use it in a bad way, but it's the reality to make you understand. You go to school, and in your school, you're given an assignment. You're asked to write an essay. And that essay is supposed to describe whatever it is. Just imagine any essay you're given to write an essay on how democracy can transform Cameroon or transform Congo, one place or the other, or how you can improve the process of democracy in your country. You know, something that you don't even know where to start. You just go to ChatGPT, ask it that question. Tell ChatGPT that you want it to limit the answer 350 words. Within 5 minutes, you're going to get a complete essay, perfect English, complete, copy, paste, and go and submit. And don't say I'm teaching you bad thing, because you go to school now, you won't do your work. But we need you to understand the power. You know, the thing in life is when you have power, you can use the power for bad things, or you can use the power for good things. That's exactly what Linda said, and she told you where to go and check. She said, go to Edge. Everybody has Edge, even on your phone or your laptop. It is the Microsoft Bing. It's the Microsoft browser. Just go there. It's already there existing. Ask it any question. So I just try to summarize what she said. Two things. Virtual assistant. So don't start wondering what it is. You just saw three. I just showed you three virtual assistants that work directly with me. If Bere were to come now, she will give you people who work with her. So even if you're in secondary school, even if you're at the secondary school level, you can be a virtual assistant supporting. And then you use AI. That's why her presentation was AI and virtual assistants, using AI to be a better virtual assistant. So I hope that has summarized everything she has said, because she really said a lot. And she has training programs. So she has agreed to put together a training that will make it very practical with assignments for you to do, so that you can go from zero to being an effective virtual assistant who prepares documents, arranges things, affect English using AI. Okay. So any questions? Let me bring her to the screen so that she can take any questions you have. We will move quickly on this. So do you have any questions? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat if you have a question. Put it in the chat. So Linda, while we are getting questions, let me ask, just so that they can understand you more. I know you run training programs in Africa. In which countries are your training programs running?
In person right now is in Côte d'Ivoire, but we also have Zoom training by Zoom. And the way we provide the training is by Interest Express. So the survey that I sent out, I hope everybody here can go and fill it out. And if not everybody has, if some don't have access, one entry, and just in the comment section, just write how many people you think would want to come, or just write it. If people say, I'd like to learn about Excel, my team will provide the training on Excel, or on virtual assistants, or on AI, whatever it is that you need that's tech related via Zoom. We organize our training by cohorts, and the cohorts meets twice a week or once a week over a period of 4 weeks. And so it's rather in-depth, it's very practical, and by the time you're done, you get a certificate of completion. There's also a self-paced library where people can go and learn about these things themselves. So say you don't have the time to go and participate in our training, we have a curated list of training. So we go online and we meet actual trainers, and we get their permission to publish their training on our website. And we make it available to people. So again, this is we just started with the online library. We're building it up with topics. But if anybody has something that you're interested in, you let me know for sure. We already have the virtual assistant one up on the library, and we could also make that link available. You can register, take the course, it's free. And if anyone would like it in French as well, it's also there. So let me switch to French really quickly. À tous mes petits frères et petites sœurs au Congo, à tout le monde. Et en fait, si vous avez besoin de formation, vous pouvez nous pouvons vous offrir cette formation gratuitement à travers Zoom, ou bien aussi sur la librairie. Nous avons une bibliothèque pour des formations que vous pouvez prendre vous-même, un peu comme sur YouTube si vous voulez. C'est entièrement gratuit, c'est sur notre site. Pour l'assistance virtuelle, ce dont j'ai parlé aujourd'hui, la formation se trouve sur notre site. Il suffit simplement d'aller, de vous connecter, et juste comment ça se fait. C'est complètement gratuit. I see a question that also came up that says, I just started a career around software engineering. What advice would you have to give? I would say, first of all, meet people who are already students. So if you just started, meet someone who's about to graduate and meet someone who's already working in the field, right? You always want to have, what's my next step looking like? And what am I looking like in 5 years? And understand, ask these questions. First one is what is the cutting edge? You're in technology, I'm in technology. You want to make sure that whatever you're doing is going to last. There's some jobs that are being cut off because they're automated now, we don't need them. You know, there's some paths that are long-term stable. So you want to make sure you understand, especially in software engineering, what languages you want to go in. Are you going to be a full stack, front end, back end engineer? What stack do you want to go with? You should definitely think about the cloud. In one word, cloud. All right.
Okay. There's a question whether AI is an app or whether it's a website. And if it's a website, where can they find it?
AI is a concept. AI is not a website. Artificial intelligence is like I'm telling you, human intelligence. Where do you find human intelligence? You find it all around you. In writing, in content, video. You also find it in, even speaking, right? AI is everywhere around you. It's in every piece of technology that you use. You can start with ChatGPT, right? Just go on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT this question. I just wrote it. So
how do they go to ChatGPT?
Go on Google and type ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And and GPT will answer all of these questions for you. Now, I see another question about what are basic computer skills that one requires to operate well as a virtual assistant? I will say a virtual assistant should know Microsoft Office or Google Suite tools. So like Microsoft Word, a little bit of Microsoft Excel, Microsoft programs, or their like Google, and I provide some training on those as well. So as long as you understand how to write a document, how to edit the document, or you know how to put together tables and add some basic formulas and things like that, you understand how to put a PowerPoint presentation together, or if you know how to answer the phone, so communication skills, and just communicate. Internet skills. Can you go on Google right now? I think anybody who can, type on Zoom, typing skills, going on the internet with that, and especially the diligence and the discipline and the inquisitive spirit. Be curious to learn and be quick on your feet to try to go and find answers. Don't just wait for the answer to come to you. As long as you have all of these skills, I think you're a good candidate for virtual assistant role.
Okay. So
The AI tools, they're in the presentation. So I will add the link again for everyone. The link is already there. And as part of the presentation, the tools were listed under each bullet. I wrote some AI tools. So they're already there. And if you would like to learn more, you can definitely reach out to me. The information, my information is on the survey. On the presentation on the last slide, second to last slide. You can write at training@cavainnovate.com. Send me all your questions. We will answer all of them, right? And if there are any tools, if there are tools that you're interested in that I did not talk about, also ask us about it. If you don't remember what I talked about, also ask.
Thank you very much, Linda.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, I've not done a very good job of time management because I told you to have time then suddenly I get message letting me know that at the US end it's a different story. But thank you so much. I just want everybody to appreciate Linda because she has brought to us the latest technology. And is it not surprising that that technology that is latest in the world that changes productivity is available to you automatically at the same time that is available to the US? That's the beauty of why I said a presentation, nobody should miss it. This is artificial intelligence, the latest in technology that transforms productivity completely. At the same time, the young people in the US are getting to know and access it. It's the same time you are getting to know and access it. There is no advantage they have over you because it's all accessible on the internet. It's on that same place where you go. If you go to Google and type ChatGPT, it will take you to the site, okay? And then you start interacting. The way you interact with it is the way the people in the US are also interacting with it. So nobody has any advantage over anybody anymore. And she's available to take your questions, available to provide you practical training and move you forward. So I believe that as we're rounding up this session, you're not confused about what it means to be a virtual assistant. And she already told you the basic skills you need: Microsoft Office, know how to use Word, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, know how to use Google Drive, Google Docs, then know how to process communication. And if your English is not so good, believe you me, ChatGPT, if you just put it there, it will give you what you want in clean English. Grammarly is another thing that helps with English, because I see English being a major issue. There are a lot of people, and they don't feel comfortable that they speak well. Just learn how to use the right apps. Okay? Now, we can't finish everything here. Obviously, we're just opening your mind and pointing you to the direction. So if you're really, really serious, make sure you get in touch. Now, because we're moving fast and you're all sitting as a group, maybe you don't have access to information or Reverend Flores information. Just contact your country coordinator who is coordinating this event for you, because they will have access to all the material, all the PowerPoints, all the contact information. Make sure you get in touch with your country coordinator and you can get what you want. You can get her email, you can get her website, you can get her phone number. These are people that you wouldn't even imagine or know how to start approaching, but they are here available to you. Just reach out, do your own role. So Linda, thank you so much. I know that we will be seeing you a lot more often. I'll be doing a lot with you between now and the end of the year. So thank you so much. She had only, is it up to 24-hour notice about this to show up? It was less than 24 hours, and you dropped everything. You dropped everything to make sure you're here for us and for the people. So please, can we give her a round of applause as we round up this? Thank you so much. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to manage the rest of the time, because it's not a very good thing to have you sitting down continuously for 3 hours. You people have not gotten up to do anything. But it's because of how much we want to deliver. And in the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, the US people are waking up and they will soon be filling the hall, which means if we don't take a break quickly, sitting through into the next session. But we do have a presentation on, it was supposed to be business planning, but I modified it to talk about effectiveness and creating value. If you were here last year, it is the same thing you heard last year. What it means to be a productivity and value creation, productivity and value creation. So what I may do, what I think I'll promise I'll try to do so that we can manage time well, is that I'll probably do a recording of that presentation and have your country coordinator share it with you. Okay, so that way you don't miss out on it. But it's important that we manage time well. I think it's important that you also take a good break, at least 1 hour between now and the next set of presentations we have. it won't be fair to force you to go through all that. However, I promise I'm going to put that in a video so that you can have access to it. That video will also have information on how you can get in touch if you have questions. But there is one thing I want to share quickly before we take our break, and that has to do with what happens after. How do you move ahead to really get results for yourself? It's not a presentation, it's just a short thing I want to point out, because we want to be practical. We don't want to be just theoretical. We say things and then you're not sure what happens after we're done here. So let me pull up this very quickly into you. It may inspire some of you to do something quickly in your area. Okay. So if you want to move forward as a group, okay, you have the group from different countries, and you're wondering, how do we move forward? Yes, we have been exposed to issues of grants. We've been exposed to issues of artificial intelligence. And when I sent my presentation on how to create value, you're exposed to all this. How do you move forward? For many of the locations, like the locations in Nigeria, the location in Uganda, I know they already have learning centers. So they have location where they can go to learn. Now, this is the challenge you need to overcome, and it is simply captured in this single paragraph. There are huge opportunities like we're showing you now for learning, for training to improve yourself. Thousands of classes, trainings, and courses, they cost little or nothing, available online, okay? Many people who are aware are using it to improve themselves. Even there in Africa, people are going online, testing these trainings, improving themselves, just like you saw 3 people I showed you, who are already functioning as virtual assistants. There are many more of them. If we switch to other groups we know we're working with, we even see more virtual assistants sitting right there in the crowd with you. However, most people are not able to access these things because of these 8 reasons. So if you're wondering, how do you move from where you are to where you want to be? These are the 8 things you need to overcome. Just know that if you can overcome these 8 things, you're in a good place to move forward. Awareness, you have to be aware of what is out there. That awareness we are partly creating by sharing this with you. That's awareness. You need guidance, somebody to guide you, point you to where the courses are, where the links are. Most of them are free. Most of them are very free, very affordable. So you need awareness, then you need guidance, which means you must be plugged in to relationships and people. So when Reverend Flores says, call me, when Linda says, call me, do not take it for granted. Do not assume that they're not serious. Reach out and connect. So you need awareness, then you need guidance. After guidance, you need accountability. Number 3 is probably the most important. Accountability is saying, who is going to hold me accountable? To make sure, just like you saw Oloma Chi when she came up, I asked her, how many times do we chat a day? She said twice. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. In the morning, she says, I am here, I'm ready to work. This is what I want to accomplish. The next time I hear from her is in the evening at 6 p.m. She says, I am done, I'm about to leave. This is what I accomplished for the day. She does that every day for 30 days. She's totally transformed. So if you're wondering, how do you move after you're motivated here? Awareness, guidance, plug into those who give you guidance, accountability. Make sure you have somebody who holds you accountable. Don't give excuses. Then you want to have access to computer, good computer, because most of the things we're talking about is online. So if you don't have access to a good computer, find where you can get access. Maybe there's a business center around where you live. Others go to that business center to play around and just to watch movies and watch music. Your phone is even a computer on its own, just that there are some things that you may not be able to do on your phone, but your phone can access the internet. So when you have your phone, have a good phone and use it to get access to all the things we're talking about. Training Reverend Floreg gave link to, you can get that training on your phone. Just go there with your phone and you get it. You need space and privacy. So if at home, nobody respects you, nobody thinks you're doing anything, because I know when you're working at home on your phone, your parents will not believe you're doing anything useful. Your elder siblings will send you on errand. You will never focus to get anything done. So find a good space where you can go and have privacy, so that if you want to put 3 hours a day, you can get 3 hours a day without interruption. These are practical steps that will prevent you if you don't address them. Then you want to have stable power. Okay, stable power, very, very important. Find somewhere that you can go to have stable power, or get some type of power for yourself. If you are using your phone, essentially, you can get a solar charger. It's usually not very expensive, a small one that makes sure that once the sun is out, you have power to keep your phone on all the time. You need to have internet access, and you need to have data to be able to access the internet. If you can't do these things on your own, then I would suggest for those of you who don't have learning centers already existing, come together and form one. If you're in Sierra Leone, come together and form one. If you're in DRC, come together. It doesn't cost anything. You just need to agree amongst yourselves that you will have a room where you can come from time to time. You're going to have a computer in that room. You're going to have internet access in that room, and you're going to hold each other accountable. If you do that, you will realize that everything we're discussing here will work out for you. So I just wanted to leave that piece, because it's very practical. It's about moving from where you are to where you want to be. Very, very important. 8 things that you need to address. For those who have access to learning centers, like people in Nigeria, people in Uganda, at least I know those 2 locations have good learning centers. Plug into those learning centers, because all these things have been solved, intentionally solved for you. And we will be supporting other people in terms of guidance on how to set up their own learning centers, so that amongst you, those of you gathered here, between now and the next 12 months, you will be able to share, like those people who just shared, how they have become virtual assistants, how they are doing work online, and getting compensated. Okay, so we're going to round up now. It's 8:30, and by the time we get back, some other person is going to be anchoring our proceedings. I wish we had more time to celebrate each location. From last year, one of the things I enjoyed was having each location give us a shout out. So we will be getting shout out from each group. Maybe when we're done with lunch after the afternoon session, we'll be getting shout out from each group so that we can recognize every one of you. But thank you so much for the time, your attention. Just remember that everything we're doing is to open your mind and point the direction. It does not end, and we cannot conclude them in this short session. Open your mind and point the direction. There is a saying, and it goes like this: a man's mind or a woman's mind, okay? A man's mind, once you stretch it, never goes back to the original position. Our goal here is to stretch your mind, knowing fully well that once we release you, that mind cannot go back to where it was before you came for the retreat. We are stretching your mind. It's not going to go back to where it was. I mean, it may attempt to go back, but it will not go back fully. It will close back again. So it's for you to run with it and connect us, so that 1 year from now, you can be one of those people sharing testimonies of how you have translated things you have learned and made informed decisions, taking you forward So remember, we still have the 5 pillars. We're still going to talk about mental health. We're still going to talk about personal finance. We're still going to talk about community. We're still going to talk about spiritual. Some of you may wonder, I came for a retreat, and so far, they've not even quoted the Bible. Don't worry, that one is coming. Everything we're saying and doing is based on the foundation of the Word of God. So there's a lot more coming. Thank you very much, and we will see you next 1 hour in 30 minutes. So take 30 minutes break and then get ready. In 30 minutes, we'll be back. Thank you.